What's up, guys, and welcome to today's video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about kind of just the entrepreneur journey and some of the things that come along with that can be sort of downers, and then some of the things that come along that can be uppers. We're not talking about drugs today. We're simply talking about the highs and the lows, the mountaintops and the valleys of this thing called entrepreneurship. Now, whether you are a full-time, hard-charging entrepreneur, or you have a side thing that just makes some money on the side of your 9-to-5 day job or your career or whatever, there's ups and downs, there's valleys, and there's mountains. And for myself, I noticed that whenever I go through sort of these valleys, my mood goes down. I'm struggling to, put a smile on my face. And it just, sometimes there's a funk and it sucks, right? It's so very important that when we're going through the valleys, those tough times, when you're not making the sales that you want to make, when you're not pulling the numbers that you want to pull, you're not reaching your goals or your vision, that you keep your eyes up, you keep your head up, you keep your chin up, and you just keep moving forward, because not too far past that valley is a mountaintop, and that is where all of the validation and gratitude and excitement and hype comes from. And I don't know that this is actually true, but I've heard it said that entrepreneurship kind of has the highest highs and the lowest lows compared to, an average day job. If you have an average day job that you kind of go in and you check in and then you check out at the end of the day, the highs and lows can be difficult there too, no doubt. But whenever the whole world, so to speak, is riding on your shoulders and the shoulders of your business, there's a little bit more of a risk there. And also the reward is a little bit sweeter too, seeing the fruits of your labor and how things have paid off that you've been working toward. So I have this graphic right here that I'm going to pull up. And this graphic really explains it well in my mind. The top panel, it says your plan. It's got the guy on the bicycle going towards the finish line, and it's a straight line. And it's an incline because there's always work to put in, and that's how we plan things to be, myself included. Like, I am the most guilty for this right here, setting a plan and not even accounting for the difficulties that are to come whenever I am moving towards accomplishing my goals. And then the bottom panel there shows what reality looks like. And we see the mountaintops, and then we see the valleys, and we see rocks, and we see obstacles, and we see water, and we see storms. And then at the very end, you see there's little flags along the way, like checkpoints, right? Because you should have checkpoints along the way in your journey. But then you see the final goal at the very end. And this poor stick figure guy, there's so much that he has to go through to get to that final goal. But honestly, let's imagine that they're making a movie out of your life. What one would make for a better movie? Would the top panel with just this straight line, totally easy, everything's going according to plan, would that make for a great movie? Probably not. My bet is going to say no. Every single movie, there's a plot, there's a setup, there's an antagonist, there's a battle, there's a war, there's a lot of stuff that the main character has to go through. And I know this sounds a little bit funny, but for myself, I like to look at my life as though it's a movie. And so it's so weird to say, but I will literally turn on music and imagine myself as the main character of this movie that I'm starring in. And the movie is my life. Chances are probably my life is not going to be made into a movie one day, but that would be really cool if it was. But just that, maybe it's a coping mechanism. Maybe it's a way for me to get past the difficulties. But whenever I imagine that my life is basically a movie, then I'm able to accept those hardships and those difficulties and those low times, and then that makes the mountaintop so much sweeter, right? It makes that victory so much greater. Also, though, it's not just me and my mentality. I believe that every single person should have a team or have a crew or a tribe that they surround themselves with that helps them through the difficult times. For myself, I have an amazing team that helps me along the way. My wife, my family, my kids especially. And then there's even people that I have on speed dial that at the first sign of trouble, I can send them a text message or I can call them and just be like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm struggling. And they get it, right? They understand what I'm going through. And then they push me, right? Because nothing is perfect. I'm not perfect. I try to teach people how to do things with their business, but I'm not perfect. And a lot of the times I miss the mark and I fall into these valleys and these obstacles just like any other person. And so I have this team and they help set me on my way. They help to adjust my thinking pattern and my mindset so that I can get through the obstacles and back on top of the mountain faster. When I would fall into these funks in the past, I would sit there for about a week. I would be in the shower. I'd be crying. I'd be upset. I'd be wondering why I'm even doing this. I'd be thinking I should give up. And then once I started bringing in a crew to kind of help me, and then I do the same thing for them as well. But once I brought them in and started to be open toward them, those week-long like downtimes turned into like 1 or 2 days. And I'm hopeful and I have faith that in the coming years or in the coming months and days, when those times come, instead of lasting weeks or days, maybe they'll just last a few hours, right? Just hit that slump, burn through it, get through it, get back on track, on top of the mountain. Resiliency. Courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is standing up to the face of fear. That's the message today. So whenever you find yourself in those low points, encourage yourself, shift your mindset, ditch the negative thinking. It's not easy. It's not easy for anybody, no matter who you are or how positive you are. Like, it's not easy to stay positive, but it's easier to get back up on top of that mountain than it is to stay in the valley. Guys, I hope this message helped you. This was something I was dealing with for the past couple days, and I got through it rather quickly. Super pumped about that. Thank you to my team out there who helped pull me through that low point. You guys know who you are. You know what you said. It was all the right things. Super grateful to have you as a part of my life. I hope with this video that I earned that like and that subscribe if you haven't already. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.